IBL Finals Game 6 here in Toronto. Thomas West and Ryan Eakin on the call. It's the Maple Leafs and the London Majors, in which has been a back-and-forth series heavily favoring the home team. And the London Majors are trying to win the IBL Finals for the second year in a row here tonight. But we mentioned the home team being favored heavily, and the Leafs hoping that home field advantage helps them tonight.
And it's their ace on the mound, Angel Castro, looking to send this series to a Game 7, just like what happened last season. Obviously, it was a best of 5 last time around. This time, a best of 7.
First pitch is hit on the ground. Dan Mara fields it, throws on to first, and there's one away.
And the one idea with Castro pitching this game on 3 days rest is pretty simple. I was talking to Damon Topley prior to the game. He said he's not losing a playoff series. He's not having the season come to an end with a big leaguer, his ace, sitting on the bench, right? He's going to ride and die with his ace, and Castro allows 10 runs tonight. He allows 10 runs, but you can go to bed knowing that you went down with your best fight. He's going to pitch Game 7 if Leafs win this game. That's anyone's guess, but right now is Castro's opportunity to take this series to a Game 7.
And that's the way Angel Castro would have it as well, a guy who seems to run on pure adrenaline, does the 39-year-old former big leaguer. As the pitch is right down the middle for strike one to the number 2 hitter, Taylor Wright. We saw Andrew Lawrence in this spot in the lineup through most of the series. Now Taylor Wright moves up from 3 to 2. Cleveland Brownlee into the 3 hole, and Byron Reichstein into the lineup tonight against Toronto for the Majors.
Lawrence was in the lineup in the 2 hole in Game 5, but now out of the lineup tonight. So Roop Channerdat, London's manager, not afraid to get creative when it comes to trying to get that last W of the season.
The London Majors have a luxury of having a lot of bats, even on the bench, that can hit with the best of them in the Inter-County Baseball League. 0-2 count to Taylor Wright, swinging a foul back.
Definitely the best bench in the IBL in terms of not only depth, but also guys that can come off that bench and be impact players, whether it's a guy like Lawrence or whether it's a guy like Gibson Kraminski.
Or how about Phil Whalen with a huge 2 RBI double last night. Castro looks in another 0-2 to Wright. Long wait. You'll see Castro do this from time to time. Pitch is way outside. So 3 days rest for Angel Castro, which is not something we see a lot in any league, whether it be Major League Baseball or the Inter-County Baseball League, especially for starting pitchers. But Angel Castro, by Angel Castro's standards, didn't throw a ton of pitches in his last outing, only 98. Here's another 1-2. It's high, 2-2.
Yeah, only 98, but even then, he may have thrown 130, and he'd still be saying, give me this baseball in this game. And that's the approach, right? It'd be great to have Castro on the mound in Game 7 in London, but if there's no Game 7, there's no Game 7. You have to ride and die with Castro in this game in this game tonight.
And if Castro is still feeling a little bit of soreness in his arms from those 98 pitches, it being freezing cold here at Dominico Field does not help. Here's the 2-2. Swinging a ball hit in the air. This one's fisted out to center field. Coming over is Connor Lewis. He makes the catch.
The designated hitter, number 35, Cleveland Brownlee.
Not a bad crowd, Thomas, given how cold it is, especially up here in the media temps.
Yeah, by the time the 5th and 6th innings come around, it will have dropped below 10 degrees here at Dominico Field. Easily the coldest game of the year for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Jose Vinicio came into the Leafs clubhouse today dressed as if it was, late November, early December. But again, he's Dominican. He's not used to this. This is Toronto weather in late September.
Jose Vinicio is like 2 more games.
Yeah, dude.
First 2 retired by Angel Castro. Now he faces Cleveland Brownlee, who takes the first pitch in there for a strike. 0-1.
The last time London faced the Leafs here at Christie Pitts was on Sunday, and Cleveland Brownlee did not play that game. It seems as though he was sick. London had a bit of a flu outbreak, perhaps you could say, over the last few days.
The 0-1. That one's in there for a strike. 0-2.
This seems to be an expanding strike zone in this game, whether it's a high pitch or a low pitch.
Angel Castro will take that. He pitches to contact, except for those 12 strikeouts we saw him throw against the well in Jackfish. An 0-2. Angel Castro trying to get off to a good start. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. He will. Angel Castro is fired up early. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are coming up in the bottom of the first inning. 1-2-3 inning for Angel Castro and the Maple Leafs. We'll be back. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. Jose Vinicio leading things off for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Thomas West and Ryan Eakin here on a chilly Thursday night here at Christie Pitts. This may be the coldest game that either of us have had here at Dominico Field, and it almost feels right being that way, just with this battling Toronto Maple Leafs team. At times, it's been incredible that they've been able to field a team, and now here they are in the Intercounty Baseball League Finals, and they have their heads down. You never know when you're going to get another opportunity like this, especially with all the veteran guys in the Maple Leafs lineup, guys who have been in the Intercounty Baseball League for so long, and they really want another 2 wins.
Yeah, and you go back to the beginning of this season, right? We saw Jose Urias on opening day for London. London's had their team pretty much right from the get-go. At least they didn't have Castro until the summer. They didn't have Vinicio until late May. This has been quite the process, at least, to get to this point tonight.
So Jose Arias is the pitcher on the mound for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We thought maybe they would save him until they had the home game if they were not to win tonight, but Jose Arias is trying to put the dagger in the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. Ground ball to first base, and Vinicio saying it went off his foot, but the home plate umpire says, well, he calls time. I think Vinicio is going to stay in the box here. Umpires are going to come talk about this one.
You can see Taka Master is about to run across the field as the field manager for the Maple Leafs, also coaching third base. And tough to tell from up here, Thomas.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Jose Vinicio, as soon as it... Oh, they are going to call him out. Vinicio is livid.
And he's got to make sure he doesn't get himself tossed. So Takamatsu and Costello better do something soon. Not that you would toss Vinicio in the game this important this early.
So on the first batter of the game, things already getting interesting.
But now game is going to go up to Vinicio. He has to. Again, it would have to take a lot to get him tossed in a game like this.
Yeah, Jose Vinicio's got to be careful because they need Jose Vinicio. There's no question about that.
Yeah, but he's got to stop talking first and foremost, as does Castro. And you can even hear the guys down the third baseline saying, we need you, Vinny, but at least got to simmer down a bit in that dugout and get back to playing baseball.
The batter's Jordan Castaldo. Jose Arias gets the first out on a ground ball to first base. Dan Perrier is the guy playing over there at first for the London Majors. Pitches outside. Jacob Newton's at second. Keith Candela at shortstop. Taylor Wright is at third base. Byron Reichstein in left. Austin Wilkie in center field. And then Starling Joseph playing right field for the London Majors tonight. Swing and a miss. 1-1. Infield shifted slightly to the right against Jordan Castaldo. Castaldo takes the first pitch into left field, but right there is the center fielder, Austin Wilkie. He makes the catch 2 away.
In this game tonight, it's really going to be interesting how the ball plays in a cold, yet windy environment here at Christie Pitts. The last time it was this cold, we saw quite the shootout between the Leafs and Jackfish. But Damon Topley, talking to him prior to the game, he doesn't think it's going to be like that. And that ball, maybe a ball in the gap if it was a bit different in the atmosphere, but it says it's second out for the London Majors here on top of the bottom of the first inning.
I hated playing when it was cold out in those spring games or those late games. Your hands are numb and the ball, it hurts when the ball hits the bat, especially when you get it off the hands or off the end of the bat. And I remember almost not wanting to swing just in fear of taking a ball off the end of the bat because it would sting your hands so much. Justin Mara, the batter, hitting .312 in the playoffs, swings and misses 1-1.
This is Arias' second game in Toronto. First time around, it didn't go great. He walked 6 batters and maybe isn't the biggest fan of pitching here at Christie Pitts, but a closeout game, and when he's at his best, he's the best pitcher in this league.
13 RBIs in the playoffs for Justin Mara. to go along with 5 home runs, 15 for 48 in the playoffs. Mara's had the long ball flying in the playoffs. Had one of 2 home runs that the Toronto Maple Leafs hit against the Majors. That was part of that 2-1 win. And that was also the last game that Angel Castro was on the mound. He lines one. This one's to second base on a hop. It's bobbled by the second baseman. Throw on to first as well wide. Jacob Newton had a tough hop at second base, and the Leafs have their first base runner and will likely go as an error to Newton.
Yeah, the ball was hit hard, but at the same time, that's a play that Newton has to make at second base. Newton not really a guy that can play second base, but that unstacked outfielder in London with guys like Brightshine and Joseph, so they moved him to second base, and offensively, he's the best second baseman in this league.
Well, here's Marcus Connect, and we talked a lot about how hot Marcus Connect was coming into the playoffs and that series against the Welland Jackfish as he swings and misses, but Marcus Connect was 0 for 4 last game, and he actually hasn't had a hit in each of his last 2 games, and the Maple Leafs are going to win this game and this series. They need the bat of Marcus Connect in that 4-hole. There goes Mara, and they got him picked off. Throw to second base. He's out by a mile. Justin Mara was guessing, and the London Majors will get out of the runner on first base in 2-out situation. Mara is, hold on.
They're going to say he's safe.
They call Justin Mara safe at second base. Okay.
I think it was a third base umpire.
Did he call the balk?
I think that's what it was.
He called a balk. Okay.
Because also it would be pretty outrageous for Justin in that spot to run.
Yeah.
He also saw that Arias was in his spot, and London's defense have come back on the field here. Not really much of an argument from Jose in the slightest. And even Group Chanadot seems to be content with the message delivered from the umpiring, although
that changes things a lot because now the Maple Leafs have a runner in scoring position, and Marcus Connect can hit a single. There's no question that they're going to send Justin Mara and try and score the first run of the ball game. New life for Connect at the plate. And the balk, it doesn't surprise me a whole lot because Justin Mara probably wasn't going on a whim. He probably saw some kind of movement going towards home plate. You'd have to imagine. Now, both the second baseman and shortstop for the London Majors are holding on the runner at second base. They might want to talk that one over.
But again, there was really no argument from Jose Arias on the mound. And even when Rube Shannon came out, that was not, a yelling match of any kind. It was mostly just, was he called safe? Because if he was called safe, you have an issue. But that's not what it was.
You almost wonder if someone from the dugout was saying he was going and Arias had already decided what he was doing. Here's a ball hammered in the air. Left field. It's gone. Marcus Connect is back in the hit column. A 2-run home run. And the Maple Leafs lead 2-0.
You said it. The Leafs need him to be at his absolute best these next 2 games. And he begins this game with a 2-run home run. And the Leafs were given second life. And by doing that, the Leafs take a 2-0 lead.
Local baseball number 17,
Jose Arias has been fantastic through the regular season and the playoffs. Not a lot of people would have had a first inning home run marked down on their score sheet. And now here's another conversation with Roop Chanderdat.
He got tossed on Sunday. Not sure what you can really be arguing at this point. The home run was a home run. And really not a moonshot by Connect standards, but a no-doubt home run is Some are suspecting around the ballpark that he's asking that ball was foul. There's absolutely no chance that ball was even close to being foul. I doubt that's his argument. But once again, I believe somebody's getting up in this London bullpen. And there is movement of some kind. That would be a stunning development here, right? At Christie Pitts if Jose Arias does indeed allow a 2-1 home run and then London instantly get somebody up in their bullpen. Have to wait and see. They don't have a lot in that bullpen.
The interesting thing, and it's so early in this ball game, so you don't want to speculate about things too early, but this game is really big for the London Majors because it's Jose Arias on the mound. He is their ace. That's the guy who you want winning a series for you. And it gives the Maple Leafs a glimmer of hope if they don't have to face Jose Arias in London.
Well, you have to face Solon Boone, and that's no walk in the cake, or walk in the park. But at the same time, that's the first home run Jose Arias has allowed all season. Like, this has been a guy that's been absolutely a monster for them right from day one. So that's just who he's been this season.
Now, that is an unbelievable stat.
Well, I have to give a shout-out to my ex-broadcast partner, Dante DeCuria, who was the Regina Pats. He sent me that in. He helped bring Arias into London. And he's the one with that little nugget, the big nugget.
Pitch over the outside corner now, 3-1. That's incredible. So not won the entire season.
Yeah, not won the entire season. And obviously he pitches at London, but nonetheless, whether you pitch at London or whether you pitch at Christie Pitts, that's an impressive stat.
There's another one in there for a strike, 3-2.
Pitch number 20 coming up from Arias here in the first inning.
Full count to John Salazzo. Rips foul. A big cut at that one. And that ball that Marcus Connect, by the way, would not have been a home run in London.
No, yeah, it was no doubt home run here, but it wasn't a moonshot by any means.
It was very high in the air.
Yes.
Here's one popped up on the infield. Robert Mullen comes out, and he makes the catch. There was a little bit of deliberation whether that was going to be Arias making the catch or Robert Mullen. The Toronto Maple Leafs get a second chance on a balk call by Jose Arias, which looked like a pickoff. And then a 2-run home run by Marcus Connect gives Angel Castro some room to work with as we head to the top of the second inning. London Majors, Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube is presented by TD Canada Trust. Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. Top of the second inning. Robert Mullen is going to lead things off for the London Majors. First pitch is in there. Low. Ball one for Angel Castro. Castro gave up just the one run in his last outing, but did allow 10 hits to the London Majors and was an escape artist. Miraculously got out of every situation he got himself into. Ball ripped down the left field line, foul.
It was one of those games that you look back on, you think at the time, what an outing by Angel Castro, and it was. But at the same time, lots of base runners, and you do that again tonight. It's tough to imagine London won't have that big inning to really break the game wide open, because it looks as though Mullen broke his bat on that foul ball.
Yeah, he checked it once and then took a couple hacks at it and felt something wiggle. So he's going to go and get himself a new bat.
Mullen would have had a grand slam in the last game if that game was at Christie Pitts. Instead, it was a fly out to Greg Carrington and left.
Here's the ball hit in the air. This one's to left center field, and coming over and making the catch there is Greg Carrington. There's one away. Brings up Byron Reichstein.
Castro right now throwing strikes, 10 strikes, only 3 balls, 13 pitches with the first 4 outs of this ball game for Castro.
And I don't think we'll see any signs of fatigue early in this game for Angel Castro. I think where that 3 days rest really starts to come into play is later in the game when we get to the 5th, 6th inning.
The one thing that does help, though, is that he knows this is it. He can empty the tank tonight. There's no Game 7 for Castro. He's not pitching Game 7, so anything he has left in the tank, he can completely drain it.
And he will.
100%.
Here's the 0-1. This one's hit out to left field. It's down for a base hit. Byron Reichstein gets the first hit for the London Majors. And they have one on with 1 out in the top of the second.
Yeah, brings up a guy like Joseph, who began that big inning for London a couple nights ago with a base hit, an infield base hit, which was a quite unlucky inning for the Maple Leafs to go back to that. Joseph had an infield base hit. There was a bunt base hit. There was a loop. Obviously, you have to throw strikes, and if you don't throw strikes, you don't make any luck. But he really began that big inning for London 2 nights ago.
Starling Joseph hasn't had a fantastic postseason. He's hitting .250, but he had .351 in the regular season. Pitches a low, strike 1. But the power numbers have still been there. 4 home runs in the playoffs, 2 doubles, 13 RBIs.
At any given point, he can absolutely drive into one and absolutely crush a baseball.
1 on, 1 out for the Majors. That one's in there for a strike, 0-2. The guy right behind Starling Joseph has had a fantastic postseason, Dan Perrier. The 0-2 to Joseph. Castro a long wait holding that runner at first base. Joseph fouls it straight back.
Lots of new faces in this London lineup from one postseason ago. Joseph, Mullen, a bunch of different other guys. Newton, Taylor Wright. Yet here they are back in the IBL finals and 1 win away from going back-to-back.
Outfield played very deep, respecting the power of Joseph. Here's another 0-2 from Castro. Quick to the plate, just outside. 1-2.
Not a bad at-bat by Joseph. He falls behind 0-2, but fouls back a pitch, looks at a ball, and tries to continue the at-bat for another pitch.
The London Majors would love to get a runner in scoring position for Dan Perrier, and Perrier was a guy that we actually saw some power numbers from him in the regular season, not in the playoffs. A .410 batting average in 16 singles. Every hit he's had has been a single. Joseph just barely gets a piece of it and fouls it to the backstop. Reached out to put some wood on that.
And he's a guy that doesn't get a lot of walks. I mean, I think I was looking at his stats a couple days ago. He got 6 walks combined, I think it is, between the regular season and playoffs. So he's a guy that in the regular season, it was a lot of home runs, a lot of strikeouts. And this time around in the postseason, as you mentioned, he's right now just getting on base.
Joseph battling against Angel Castro. 1-2. Fouled back once again.
A big time at bat here by Joseph.
Dan Perrier on deck, and then Austin Wilkie, hopeful of an at-bat. Byron Reichstein is the runner at first base. He reached via a single. 1-2 from Castro. Here's a ball hit in the air. This one's deep to left field. It's gone. A game-tying 2-run home run for Starling Joseph. And the Majors are right back in the ball game.
You'd almost see that coming. Excuse me, a guy like Joseph kept fouling back pitches, kept looking at seeing what Castro was throwing, and with one swing, he ties that game, and there's no question that was an absolute bomb by Joseph.
Joseph is fired up and receives the shiny top hat on his way into the dugout. That was a battle between a veteran pitcher in Angel Castro and Starling Joseph, who fouled off a couple pitches, finally found a slow breaking ball that he liked, and although he was way out in front of it, did a fantastic job to keep the bat head down and pull that ball to left field, and that would have been a home run in pretty much any ballpark.
Joseph has looked lost for a lot of this playoff series, but if he's going to start having at-bats like this, that's going to be a massive difference for the London Majors in this game, and perhaps in the Game 7 if there is one.
Brand new ball game. Dan Perrier is at the plate. Still just 1 out for the Majors here in the top of the second. There's a pitch low.
Lots of emotion, and at least that home run that they had, lots of emotion when London hit that home run, but this game's not going to be a 2-2 game for much longer because I think the ball's going to be flying in this ball game tonight.
Ball popped foul, 2-1. And although it is chilly and the ball doesn't fly as well in these frigid conditions, the wind is blowing out towards center field, and it's dying now. But when we were first here at the ballpark, the wind was howling out to center.
Talking to Takamatsu, though, he does say that when it gets below 20 degrees here at this ballpark, the ball can absolutely fly. And I mean, as you said, that Joseph home run's a home run in any ballpark. That Connect home run may have been an example as to when the weather gets a certain, drop below 20, anything can happen here at Christie Pitts.
Angel Castro. The 3-1 count on Perrier, hitting .410 in the playoffs. Check swing on a pitch that was a called strike. 3-2. Castro into the windup. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 2 away.
This is number 15, Dan Perrier.
Angel Castro is an interesting guy with the way he presents himself on the mound. Obviously, you can see the yelling and the amped up nature, which isn't particularly out of character for baseball players these days. But there's a pitch over the inside corner. Strike 1. Austin Wilkie is the batter. But it doesn't matter what happens in the inning. Angel Castro lives in the moment.
Yes.
If he gets a strikeout, it doesn't matter whether he gave up a 2-run home run in the at-bat before. He is focused on what is happening next and what's happening in the moment. He does not care about the past.
And he's a guy that people can say what they want in terms of, his antics, I guess you can say, but the Leafs needed a guy like this, a guy that wants the ball every day, a guy that's an absolute ace. what he's done in the clubhouse, what he's done on the field in terms of leadership and providing emotion, especially through the dog days of the regular season. This is a guy that you want on your team every single day.
Wilkie hitting .283 in the playoffs. He hits a ball on the ground. Vinicio snags it. That was a tough hop. Casual throw over to first base. And that will do it. But the London Majors have evened things up on a monster 2-run home run by Starling Joseph on a hanging breaking ball from Angel Castro. 2-2 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the London Majors. Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. Connor Lewis leading things off for the Maple Leafs. They scored 2 in the top half of the first inning, but the London Majors came right back in the top of the second. 2-run home run by Starling Joseph, his 5th of the playoffs. Lewis playing center field tonight, as he usually does for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Takes the first pitch over the outside corner for a strike from Jose Arias.
And that's another guy, Thomas, the Leafs didn't have to begin the season. He signed in late May, and this was really a season process that the Leafs had to just really believe in throughout the season, because opening day roster and the roster that you've seen tonight are not the two same things.
So now the third base umpire is going to come in and chat with Jose Arias. And
so mound related for sure.
I think he's talking about Jose Arias putting his foot touching the rubber when he throws to the plate.
Yeah, I think that's right. And Mullen's also asking for clarification. And London's dugout is chirping, and Rip's going to make his third visit to the field in the second inning. No, stays back.
Didn't get past the line.
Pace of play. I'm a big fan of it.
The 0-1, outside 1-1. So the ball fouled off. Two and one on Connor Lewis. Lewis hitting .277 in the playoffs. Takes over the outside corner, strike three called. Lewis didn't like it. There's one away.
That strike zone has been expanded all game, so expanded for Castro, expanded for Arias, and that's the way it's going to be in this game, but right now it's consistent.
Dan Mara is the batter. And then once we get on deck in the DH spot is something that we haven't seen here in the playoffs yet. It's Grant Tamane who's on deck. Grant Tamane is hitting the place of Damon Topley, who has been struggling at the plate lately.
Yeah, Damon Topley obviously can be in the Leafs lineup, but I think he understands he wants the championship, and right now he believes, and Takamatsu as a Leafs manager believes the best path for the Maple Leafs is Grant Tamane in the lineup over a guy like Damon Topley right now.
Pitch a strike. 2-1 on Dan Mara, the second baseman.
And people can't forget, you go back to 2016, London was the favorite. They were the pennant champions that year. And Grant Tamane in Game 7 against London hit the go-ahead home run in the ninth inning to give the Leafs one of the great playoff upsets in recent IBL history. So Grant Tamane against London is something that might be the X factor.
Dan Mara had a check swing and fouled off that last one, so now it's 2-2. Ball smacked on the ground. That one's to shortstop. Throw fired over there to first base by Keith Candell, who caught it on a tough high hop. And now here's Grant Tamane.
Tamane, near the end of the regular season in the game against Guelph, that didn't mean anything for the Leafs. Separated his shoulder, as I think everyone knows by now. But a month later, he's back in the Leafs lineup on a consistent basis. At least he will be for Game 6, and if there is a Game 7, quite likely to be in the Leafs lineup for Game 7 too.
Pitch a strike to Tamane. He's had 4 games in the playoffs. Last one, he came in and had 1 at-bat against the Welland Jackfish. That was part of a 10-2 loss. And then he played the whole series with the Barrie Baycats. But he...
Mostly a pinch runner for Damon Topley in some key moments in that series.
Yeah, the bat has not been there yet for Grant Tamane in the playoffs, coming off the injury, still looking for his first hit in the playoffs.
1-2.
Takes way outside, 2-2. Tamane had 106 at-bats in the regular season. Hit .264. Had what I can remember as being a huge 1 home run and 1 double as well.
A huge home run against Hamilton.
Now he fouls one off first base side, and what solidified his nickname as Hot Boy Summer.
What I would do for Hot Boy Summer right about now. Let me tell you.
Yeah, not the home run is fine. It's
Yeah.
the temperature.
Yeah. I mean, the home run was great too, but yeah.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Jose Arias is starting to lock in here as we head to the top of the 3rd inning. 2-2 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the London Majors. Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. The number 9 hitter, Keith Candell, leads things off for the London Majors. Top of the third inning, Candell rocking the hoodie and the sweater under the baseball uniform tonight. Why not?
He's from California, right? He doesn't like this this cold night here in Toronto.
Castro into his third inning of work. 2-2, Maple Leafs and Majors. The only blemish on either side, a 2-run home run against both starting pitchers.
People are chirping Candell right now for having the sweater on, but I think he's a genius personally. I mean, I'd be doing the same thing.
We have sweaters on.
Yes.
We should have more.
Yeah. Should have brought a toque. Maybe a jacket.
I don't want to complain about the cold too much, because if you're sitting at home watching, you don't care.
Well,
but
sure.
It is really cold.
It's playoff baseball, though.
Yeah. 1-1 is high and inside.
You told everyone here at Christie Pitch today that in May, when it's so hot out that we'd be freezing cold in late September, that means this team would be in the finals. So I think a lot of people are okay with that.
Two 2-1. There was a rallying cry around this Toronto Maple Leafs team at the end of the regular season when Garrett Takamatsu wasn't allowed to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And
yes,
you can take whatever side of that you want. As here's the 2-2 from Castro. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 1 away. But the Toronto Maple Leafs chose to use that as motivation, and something has got them all this way with what seemed like a ragtag team without that star third baseman MVP candidate and Garrett Takamatsu at third base, and they found a way to win ball games. Decided series sweep over the Barrie Baycats in the first round. Toronto Maple Leafs finishing 4th in the Intercounty Baseball League, but find themselves right back where they were last year with what doesn't seem like as strong a team as they had last year, but they're playing just as well. They have the bats going once again, and the starting pitching as well has been fantastic all year for the Maple Leafs.
And London has the glitz and glamour of the guys that, like Mullen, he was a runner-up to the MVP, and Jose Arias won the ERA title. And the Leafs obviously have big names, there's no question about that, but a blue-collar team making it to the IBL finals is not something that happens often, but I think you can call this Leafs team a blue-collar team.
0-2. That one's high.
And there's lots of guys around the league, guys that have played in this league for many seasons that are rooting for the Leafs just because you want guys like Justin Amar and Dan and John Salazzo to get their championships that have eluded them throughout their first many seasons in the IBL.
Ball ripped foul into the Maple Leafs dugout down the left field line. And you can say, oh, well, you know, it'd be cool if the Welland Jackfish did that or the London Majors did that too. But the Maple Leafs are also in a unique scenario geographically where they are around a mecca of not only people, but baseball teams and homegrown talent. Over the outside corner, breaking ball, strike 3 called. And El Castro strikes out 2 in a row. as he's 1 out away from getting out of this third inning. But just to finish off that point as well, if you think about all the teams where, I mean, we see players coming from the Ontario Blue Jays, and there's a whole bunch of teams like that around Toronto. And if you're out in Welland or you're out in London, you have those teams, but you don't have as many. And the talent pool to choose from is not as big.
There's no question that the Leafs and really the Bay Cats is another team, because if you're not, able to play for the Leafs for whatever reason, or you don't want to, the Bay Cats is the closest team, from a geography standpoint to go up and play to if you're an OBJ guy, and that's how the Bay Cats ended up with guys like Owen Jansen and Ryan Rio. Well, obviously Rio's from the Bay Cats playing stuff, but no question, at least have that into their advantage for sure.
Swing and a miss, strike one. And the London Majors this year have done a fantastic job with their recruitment. You see a whole bunch of guys playing in their first or second year in the Intercounty Baseball League, guys coming from overseas, as here's one fouled straight back into the bus stop to our left.
Yeah, and obviously what London does, they might go back to back. In terms of it being sustainable, it's tough when you have so much roster turnover one season after one season. But again, that's what you have to do in London. There's not a great base of baseball players from London. They have Owen Boone, who's the best Canadian pitcher in this league, and they have other guys. But they really have to rely on the Dominicans. They really have to rely on housing guys too, whether it's a guy like Taylor Wright from Calgary, or from out west, in BC.
Swing and a miss, strike three. And El Castro strikes out 3 London Majors in the top of the third inning. And we remain tied 2-2. Leafs and Majors, Game 6 of the Intercounty Baseball League Finals. The Majors trying to end it on the Toronto Maple Leafs grounds. Thomas West and Ryan Eakin, this is Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust.
Number 15,
Greg Carrington leading things off. Ben Davey doing the PA announcing tonight at Dominico Field, coming over from the Barrie Bay Cats. He's gotten into it too tonight.
Well, listen, I had to give the Bay Cats a championship experience, right? I mean,
Okay.
Okay. Got Patrick on the mic the last 2 home games, another Bay Cat media guy, and how to get them ready for perhaps maybe if they're in the finals in a year or two from now, get them used to what it's like being on the biggest stage in the IBL.
Jose Arias in his third inning of work. Yeah, by the way, huge thanks to Patrick coming in here and filling in for those games as well. Fantastic job. calling these games in the finals. Almost everyone on the diamond checking down to the third base umpire. That was a swing.
Was the most adamant call from the top of the Christie hillside.
2-1. Just outside, 3-1.
And Greg Carrington, that second leadoff guy for the Leafs, if he gets on base, it gives the Leafs some options with Jose Vinicio on deck.
Good chance to get on base for Greg Carrington. The 3-1 pitch lifts it foul down the left field line. (3-2). Jose Vinicio is on deck. Vinicio was 3 for 4 last game after having consecutive games without recording ahead. Pitch is just outside. Check that now, 3-2 to Carrington.
Really need a scoreboard out in the right field, I have to say.
Yeah.
That would be lovely.
Yeah. Some chance of walk echoing around the pits. Not yet. It's fouled back.
You mentioned Joseph's at-bat earlier in the game, how great that was, and it led to a home run. Greg Carrington having a nice at-bat here for the Maple Leafs to lead off the bottom of the third inning.
Greg Carrington, easily the most consistent bat in the Toronto Maple Leafs lineup this season. .295 batting average in the playoffs. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Up and in fastball from Jose Arias. One away.
He's got some life on his fastball in this game. Maybe not throwing as hard as I've seen him in the past, but his fastball is still one of the better fastballs in the IBL.
Here's a guy that does not strike out a lot, Jose Vinicio. 5 strikeouts and 53 at-bats in the playoffs. Hitting .340, and these were kind of the numbers that I think people were expecting to see from Jose Vinicio, coming with that pro ball experience in the regular season. And that one hits Vinicio, and he will sprint down to first base.
And Vinicio has left off the also voted from shortstops in the IBL this season by both the media and the league. And that makes sense in the sense that his numbers are not as great as a Keith Candela ran. Schmeiber and Wellen, I tweeted out, I think it's true, in my 10 seasons in the IBL, I think Jose Vinicio is the best shortstop this league's ever seen. What he does in terms of defense, both in terms of range and his ability to throw the ball at first base, his speed, I think he is the best shortstop this league's ever seen, at least in the last decade.
So Jose Vinicio is on first via the hit by pitch.
It's tough to run on a guy like Mullen, who caught 3 Maple Leaf batters out in game 1 in London. But if anyone's going to take off, it's going to be Vinicio.
Vinicio with a hectic lead at first base, and he really wanted to draw a throw, and now he finally does from Jose Arias. Stole 2 bags it was last night's game.
Wednesday
night. Tuesday. Yeah. See,
here's the issue: is that we've been playing on Wednesday nights all season. None of these Thursday night games.
Yeah.
It's throwing us off.
Vinicio off to a sprinting lead once again, bouncing around over there at first base. Castaldo's the batter.
It's a big lead.
Vinicio not going, pitches up and away, and he might have been thrown out on that pitch. That was almost a pitch out there from Jose Arias, 2-0.
It was a half pitch out, and that's back-to-back pitches now. And yeah, you want to be concerned yourself with Vinicio, but at the same time, you can't fall behind 2-0 to one of the best bats this league's ever seen in Jordan Castaldo.
A 2-0 count seems like a count that you shouldn't run on, but Jose Vinicio likes to catch people off guard as well. Not going. Castaldo fouls it back now. There's a very good chance that Jose Vinicio will be taking off for second base. 8 stolen bases in the playoffs for Jose Vinicio in 12 games. He swiped 22 bags in the regular season. Sorry, 9 stolen bases for Vinicio and 27 stolen bases in the regular season. 2-1 to Castaldo. Vinicio with an even bigger lead now. And there he goes. Great jump. It's fouled back. by Castaldo. And once again, that was a great jump by Vinicio, but almost a pitch out style pitch from Jose Arias on that one up in the zone.
Yeah, and if you're Castaldo, you have to swing at something if you like it. Because, yeah, it'd be great to get Vinicio to steal second base, but if it drops you to 2 strikes, you have to swing, and he does. Now he has to strike the plate here on 2-2.
And you almost wonder if that balk earlier in the game might be in the back of the mind of Jose Arias as well. Just the one throw over to first base. 2-2. Vinicio not going. Pitch is low and outside. Now Vinicio is going to head to second base. An errant pickoff throw. It actually was strike 3 called to Jordan Castaldo. I didn't see a call from the home plate umpire, but Castaldo is heading back to the dugout. And Jose Vinicio finds himself in scoring position.
Yeah, they tried catching Vinicio sleeping, but Vinicio wasn't the one sleeping on that play down the first base line, and he ends up at second base, and an opportunity for Justin Morrow to give the Maple Leafs a 3-2 lead.
Yeah, and Jose Vinicio also wasn't very far off the bag.
No.
Robert Mullen may have been just a little bit overzealous, ripping that ball from his knees down to first base. Now Vinicio at second. And here's a ball hit in the air. This one's to right field. It's deep. It's to the wall, and it's gone! Justin Mara, 2-run home run. The Leafs take a 4-2 lead.
We saw it with Justin Moore in the last game. He came up to base 3 times, but came up to bat 3 times. He got on third base, less than 2 out. He wasn't able to capitalize any times. Came up with the base loaded twice, but he does in a massive spot here to get the Maple Leafs a 4-2 lead.
That is home run number 6 in the playoffs for Mara. All the scoring tonight has been via a 2-run home run. I'm almost wondering if we can go back and check that stat on Jose Arias, too, with the amount of home runs he's given up this season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm doubling his total, if so. And even though we don't have a stats guy with us today. That can happen. Tougher to look up when the game was on point, I believe.
Pitch is inside.
He's got a lot of pitches right now, too. 3 strikes.
Now Connect swings and misses, hit a 2-run home run in his last at-bat. Leafs lead 4-2 over the Majors, trying to send it back to London. And boy, oh boy, is this ever familiar territory for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It was a 5-game finals last year against the London Majors, swing and a miss, strike 2 by Marcus Connect. And they found themselves on brink of elimination, trying to send it right back to London. But that game went 13 innings and had a 7-inning relief stint from a guy that we're not sure if he's going to be available for this one. We'll have more on that when we come back. That's a swing and a miss, strike 3. But the Toronto Maple Leafs get 2 more on a 2-run home run by Justin Mara, his 6th of the postseason, and find themselves in a winning position once again against the London Majors. Angel Castro back on the mound when we come back. This is Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. Cleveland Brownlee steps into the box for the London Majors. Maple Leafs leading 4-3. And now Castro, fourth inning of work, and a huge swing and a miss. 4-2. Yes. You can see that, though, at home.
Unless I'm messing up the scoreboard, which
you looked and you were like, did I screw something up?
Yeah. Caught sleeping.
You don't need me to tell you that.
No. TV broadcast.
1-0. Up and away. Brownlee swung out of his shoes on the first pitch. Two homers in the postseason for Brownlee. Another big swing and a miss. Cleveland Brownlee either looks fantastic when he swings the baseball bat, or he finds himself way out in front.
His swings and misses are something else.
15 homers in the regular season for Brownlee.
Oh, when he makes contact.
Pitches up and away.
The ball is often gone.
Castro quickly to the plate, swing and a miss, strike three. Angel Castro may have manufactured one against the veteran Cleveland Brownlee with that quick pitch. And there's one away. And it's one thing to quick pitch when you're trying to hold a runner on first base. It's another to do it out of the windup.
And going back to how he closed out the last half inning, you mentioned Dustin Richardson, his iconic pitching performance last year in the playoffs and the finals against London. And as to whether or not he's an option.
Yeah.
He's an option. He's someone that the Maple Leafs can and will use if need be here in the last two games.
He's just an option of a different nature to what he was last year. Last year, the Maple Leafs knew that they were getting an ace when they brought him into the ball game, but Richardson has been battling a little bit more this season than he was last year, although he did have some injury troubles last year as well.
He really hasn't been healthy for many seasons now, but that makes his outing last September really that much more impressive.
I'm just saying, if Dustin Richardson comes into this game, it's not going to be one inning. It's going to be everything.
He understands this might be it completely for him.
Yeah.
And, that guy, there's not another guy that wants a championship more than Dustin Richardson. I can promise you that much. And
yeah.
He'll do whatever it takes, and it would take perhaps his arm falling off. I mean, maybe no, like that's not a hyperbole. Perhaps.
Maybe both.
Yeah, because maybe because he wants this badly.
Swing and a miss, strike three. Nasty breaking ball from Angel Castro.
We're starting to see those strikeout numbers from Castro the way we saw them.
Yeah, how about 7 strikeouts for Castro through 3 2/3? "39 strikes and 15 balls from Angel Castro." He is pounding the strike zone. Reichstein swings and misses. He's singled to left in his last at-bat.
You need to throw strikes. What happens so badly? Strikes. Pitchers often aren't good enough.
And another single to left field. That one gets down. Reichstein has a 2-out single for the London Majors, and this is not the guy the Maple Leafs want to see. Starling Joseph, who tagged a 2-run home run in his last at-bat, comes to the plate.
Yeah, it's great for Castro. Got the first 2 outs, but you allow a 2-out hit to Reichstein, and there's really no exit velocity on that one at all, but guy on first base, 2 out, and it brings up Joseph, who, as you said, hit the home run his last time up. And this is a big time at bat here because the other's 2 out, and the other's only got first base. But with one swing, Joseph can tie the game, just like he did in his first at bat.
Reichstein's 2 for 2. Starling Joseph 1 for 1, and would love another here. He takes a strike over the outside corner. 0-1. Make that 42 strikes now for Castro in the top of the 4th. Another one in there for a strike, and now this is where Castro has to be careful with that breaking ball. Even though Starling Joseph was obviously waiting on a fastball from Castro, he was still able to adjust and pull a breaking ball way out of the ballpark.
Castro was up 0-2 on Joseph at his first at-bat before he fouled some pitches back and even looked at the ball before hitting that home run.
So here it comes, another 0-2. Will Castro go to the fastball this time? He does. It's over the inside corner for strike 3. 8 strikeouts through 4 innings for Angel Castro as he sprints off the mound. And the Toronto Maple Leafs hold on to their 4-2 lead heading to the bottom of the 4th inning. Thomas West and Ryan Eakin here. This is Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. John Salazzo hitting things off for the Maple Leafs. 8 strikeouts for Angel Castro.
Yeah, I mean, almost got to pick up the mic in that spot, but yeah, listen. Angel Castro, we saw it in that Jackfish series, and we even saw it a bit in that Baycat series to some extent as he lets out a massive scream. He's been back to the way he was earlier in the playoffs. And now people across the ballpark are also just yelling because why not?
That's great. That's great. Salazzo rockets one foul into the neighborhood down the left side. That one had some heat on it. John Salazzo, just the 1 home run in the playoffs so far, 7 RBIs. Big swing and a miss, strike 3. Salazzo goes down swinging.
The bottom of this Maple Leafs lineup needs to get going. Salazzo 0-2, and then Lewis, Dan Mara, Tamani, Carrington all got out, with Lewis, Tamani, and Carrington getting out via strikeout. So it's the top of the Maple Leafs lineup doing something right now, but not the bottom half.
Connor Lewis's bat has been kept at bay by the London Majors over the last 3 games. Just 1 hit in his last 11 at-bats. That 1 hit came yesterday, and it was a double. Swing and a miss, strike 2.
It was a double that gave the Leafs the lead. But unfortunately, the Leafs just not able to avoid that big inning by London, as London took Game 5.
Connor Lewis's double cashed in a couple of RBIs as he swings and misses, strike 3. Jose Arias is blowing fastballs by Maple Leafs hitters. Here comes Dan Mara with 2 away.
He is in one right now, really outside the 2 home runs he's allowed. I know you can't really say that if you take away every bad thing he's done. He's been great, but 3.2 innings, 7 strikeouts. And for Jose Arias right now, and Castro through 4 innings has 8 strikeouts.
Arias trying to strike out the side. Delivers a strike. 0-1.
Pitch number 66 that was for Jose Arias.
Breaking ball that time, strike 2. Might have caught Dan Mara off guard on that front door breaking ball. Mara was 0 for 5 last game. And now he shoots one out to right field, but it's going to land about 15 feet foul down the right field line. And Mara does a really good job of that when he's behind in the count, just trying to put the bat on the baseball and dish one into the outfield. And the London Majors outfielders move in a couple steps as well, wary of that possibility.
Lots of space up the middle as they often shift against Dan Mara.
That one's over the outside corner.
That's
Strike 3 called. It looked like a strike, but we were waiting on the strike call. And indeed, Jose Arias strikes out the side in the bottom of the 4th inning. And now it's been a pitcher's duel. 8 strikeouts aside for both Angel Castro and Jose Arias as the London Majors meet in a circle in front of the dugout as the Maple Leafs lead 4-2. This is Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. Four-2 lead for the Toronto Maple Leafs, trying to send this series back to London for a Game 7. Austin Wilkie comes up for the London Majors. Trying to get on and get something going against Angel Castro. Just a 2-run home run by Starling Joseph is the only blemish on his record this evening. Wind is still blowing out to center field, but it's died down. The 0-1 from Castro. Swing and a miss, strike 2. That time a breaking ball to Wilkie. Austin Wilkie has reached base 17 times in the postseason. Takes the ball aside. 13 of those are singles, 4 walks.
Wilkie has a home run at Chrissy Pitts this season. In fact, it was a leadoff home run, the first pitch of the game earlier in the season, but we were still coming on the broadcast.
Yeah, I remember that. We hadn't even said a word yet, and Austin Wilkie had already deposited one over the fence. Welcome back to Maple Leafs baseball, and that one's gone.
Yes.
That was like a Nick Castellanos moment.
Yeah.
And that will be a home run.
Yeah. We haven't had any of those this season, thankfully.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, we have. Yeah, actually, we have. Yeah, a lot.
And I'm not too worried about it either.
No.
Just
yeah,
it's more of a character thing.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Deep drive.
Can't believe we got it.
We don't have headsets though, so we don't even have to say that. We'll never have the headsets on again.
Yeah, I have a headset, but
ground
ball to first base. That one's fielded by Costello, and Castro gets over there quickly, and there's one away.
If there was a gold glove in this league, everyone knows that Castro would be the gold glove pitcher for the IBL. No question. Not Claudio Custodio, who can also play shortstop and center field and all that. Give me Castro.
Dan Perrier takes inside, and then the hoodie rod Keith Candell is on deck.
Yeah, I like the look. Looks like a different baseball player, but I like it.
Yeah. One-0. Low and inside. Infield and outfield played straight away against the Majors first baseman. Takes a big cut and hits it down the left field line, and a ball that looked like it was going to hook a lot, but actually stayed pretty true. And Perrier just behind that one.
Interesting to see Castro really slow his pace down this inning. As you mentioned, these are really the innings to keep an eye on, given he's pitching on 3 days rest.
Here's a ball lined up the middle, and that one gets down, and this could be extra bases. Perrier rounding first bases, headed for second. There's a play, and he's in there safely, crashing slide at second base by Daniel Perrier.
Yeah, below average speed coming out of the batter's box, but that's a double standing up for most guys, especially given there was a bit of a bobble out in center, but just safe at second base. And from here, it definitely looks like it was the right call, no question.
So here is Keith Candell with a runner in scoring position. We're just in the top of the fifth inning. That's a big run standing out there at second base. We have a little pause here, and
it's Venicio's glove, I believe. Oh, no, he might need to get taped up.
I think he's bleeding.
Yep. Safe to say he's not coming out of this game. But it looks as though he may have gotten cleated.
I don't.
No.
He was just looking for a high five in the dugout. He's good.
He's good. Maybe he's. I don't know. He didn't get a new glove. He didn't get taped up.
All right. Don't know what happened there.
Tying run. We do know, though, is at the plate for Keith Candell. And after that, it's Jacob Newton, who, if London wins tonight, you have to think he's going to be the finals MVP given what he's done this postseason.
My question is, why does London have 2 third base coaches right now?
I think that's Dustin Richardson. Oh, no, you're right.
Oh, no, that is Dustin.
Oh, sorry. But and the other guy's a photographer. So there we go. Dustin Richardson, not a London major.
He's all bundled up there, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got some Timbs in his hand.
Does he?
Oh, yeah. I saw him pick up his coffee cup.
That's great. There's a strike. From one hoodie to another, we salute you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. When people can chirp him, but one, I think from a style perspective, it looks pretty nice anyway. I like it. There's guys that you see it in the big leagues. It's not the Jays had a guy that did that a lot back in the playoffs in 2015-16.
There's also guys you see in House League doing that too, though.
Well, listen. Keith Candell's a bit better than a House League shortstop.
I would say, yeah. 0-2 is high. That was a breaking ball from Angel Castro. Keith Candell just missing the 300 mark in the regular season. hit 297. But, you know, the near 300 average is great. But Keith Candell is just such an elite shortstop for the majors, has been for many years.
Yeah, his range is great, but his arm is perhaps one of the better arms. Well, it definitely is one of the better arms in this league outside perhaps Jose Vinicio.
Another 0-2. I think it's 1-2. Here's one flared in the air. Castaldo getting over there. He makes the catch just in front of the wall as he hops up on the mound of the London Majors bullpen.
And this is now a massive at-bat. It's righty on lefty. Castro against Newton. Newton has been a monster for London in this series. He's been a monster for them all, really all season. You know, Sam Cocker won the Rookie of the Year out in Welland, but you know, if I had a vote, I think Jacob Newton would easily be my guy. He's been truly outstanding right from day one, and now this is his biggest spot yet as a London Major.
Newton trying to cash in that run from second base. By the way, Jacob Newton came into this ball game hitting .509 in the playoffs. .509.
Listen, he's been absolutely outstanding. That's not a shot at other guys across this league that could have one Rookie of the Year, whether it was a Sam Cocker and Owen Jansen and Aiden McCaskey for the Leafs.
Yeah.
It's just Jacob Newton is instantly one of the better players in this league.
2 for 3, a double, 2 RBIs, and 2 walks for Jacob Newton in the last game. And now he hits one on the ground. Dan Mara is going to field it, throws on to first, and that is a massive out for Angel Castro and the Maple Leafs as they escape the Dan Perrier double with 1 out. Maple Leafs lead 4-2 over the London Majors. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. This is Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. Grantamane filling in for Damon Toppoli, and the DH role will lead off the bottom of the 5th inning. Then Greg Carrington and Jose Vinicio.
Taylor Wright playing back at third base. We're not surprised if that was a spot to bunt.
Welcome back to Dominico Field on a chilly Thursday night here in Toronto. Maple Leafs leading 4-2 over London Majors. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. 1-0 is high, 2-0. Big swing and a miss by Tamane. Two. High, full count now to Tamane. I was just looking back. I wanted to know when that Hot Boy Summer home run happened, and it was to extend the lead for the Maple Leafs over the Hamilton Cardinals.
Yep.
Part of a 4-1 win in the seventh inning.
That was a close ball game. The debut of Franklin Hernandez.
Pitch is low and away. Robert Mullen was getting up to whip the ball down to third base. That pitch just outside.
Well, you can't blame Mullen for that because the last time he did it, the umpire, he was not making a call one way or another. It instantly called strike three. What was a greatly delayed strike three call. So he tries it again, but this time Tamane draws the leadoff walk for the Maple Leafs.
Greg Carrington will try and move him over or keep the line going.
And Taylor Wright in at third base, expecting to bunt. I would not be bunting personally against Jose Arias, only to move a guy over to second base.
He was bunting. Top of the lineup coming up for the Maple Leafs, Jose Vinicio, Jordan Castaldo, and Justin Mara. Squaring to bunt again, and a pitch way up and away. We've seen this a couple times in this ballgame now from Jose Arias, whether it was a threat to steal by a runner on first base, i.e. Jose Vinicio, or a threat to bunt. He has been confident to throw a couple pitches outside to try and bait a mistake from the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, Carrington can't bunt 2-0 right now. You have to make him throw a strike. And this happened with the Leafs in Game 5, too. London tried bunting the ball a couple times, and the Leafs just weren't throwing strikes, whether it was Sam Green, Dylan Jacober, and the rest, and Franklin Hernandez. And what ended up happening was London just got on via base on ball. So if you're the Leafs, make him throw a strike.
Squaring to bunt again. It's in the dirt, 3-0.
And surely for at least one pitch, you have to take the bunt off.
Jose Vinicio looming on deck. 3 hits. Last game, squaring to bunt and taking it right down the middle. No real intention of bunting that baseball.
That time around, absolutely not. But 3-1, I can see the bunt being back on here.
Taylor Wright has moved back a little bit. Now he creeps back in. Bunt is on again, and bunting right through it was Greg Carrington.
I think he's saying he didn't bunt through that, thinking it was ball 4, but it was a called strike 2 by the umpire.
He definitely took a stab at it.
No question.
Now it's a 3-2 count, and
Tamane's got plus speed at first base. He might be on the move, but Carrington has struck out to Arias once in this game.
Yeah, it was on a high and in fastball. Does he go back to it? No, it's low and away. Ball 4, another close pitch. The Maple Leafs 8 and 9 hitters have got on via walks. And here comes the top of the lineup.
And now I think he bunt in this spot simply because when Jose Vinicio bunts, he's not bunting to give himself out. He's bunting to get the bases loaded, as he's done in multiple spots throughout this postseason.
Yeah, this will be an interesting coaching decision.
I think this is a spot that you bunt, but if he doesn't throw a strike, he doesn't throw a strike.
It's also unlikely that Jose Vinicio would be doubled off unless he absolutely smashed one right at an infielder. Here we go. Must-score situation for the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know the London offense is not done yet. Vinicio bunting, and he puts it down the third baseline, and it's foul. Taylor Wright came in, and that ball looked like it was actually going back towards fair territory. Smartly picking that one up.
It's not easy bunting against a guy like Jose Arias, who he throws nothing but gas, quite frankly. And, if he jams, you can pop it up. lots of back can happen, but Jose Vinicio is a great bunter. But if he doesn't get this bunt down here with 1 strike and it becomes 2 strikes, he will have to pull the bunt off.
Vinicio squares early. The pitch, low and inside, 1-1.
82 pitches for Jose Arias here in the 5th inning. Although that pitch count could be as high as 130, 140, 150. Who knows in this game, because this is his last game of the season.
It's whatever he feels comfortable doing. Squaring very early once again. Here's a pickoff move back to second. It almost goes into center field. Shortstop Candel had to reach out over top of Grant Tamani to keep that ball from going into the outfield.
That is a risky and almost major self-inflicted play by the Majors ace. That easily could have been a second and third nobody out spot for the Maple Leafs.
Vinicio squares again. Here's the pitch. He gets it down. It's a good one down the third baseline. It's booted. Everyone is safe. Taylor Wright couldn't get a handle on the baseball, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. And here comes Jordan Castaldo.
And that's why you bunt with Jose Vinicio. Because when he bunts, all it takes is one little bobble. And Taylor Wright's not a great defensive third baseman by any means. He's booted a lot of balls this season. And by doing that, putting pressure on him, he knows he has no time with Jose Vinicio coming out of the batter's box. It could easily lead to a bases loaded, nobody out spot, and it does. For the most clutch bat this league perhaps has ever seen.
Castaldo has 7 RBIs in the playoffs. That's not a super high total, but he has 2, 3, or 4 just waiting to come home right now.
The Leafs had the bases loaded twice with 1 out in Game 5. They didn't capitalize either time.
Castaldo breaks his bat and hits a high chopper to second base. This could be 2. Throw over to first in time. Double play. The Leafs will score a run, but that is a broken bat double play for Jordan Castaldo, and the London Majors may have just limited the damage.
Absolutely. Now, in the case of the Leafs, though, they do get a run out of it. And this inning, Jose Arias, he was a strikeout and ground ball away from getting out of it completely without allowing a run. So, yeah, double play sucks for the Maple Leafs. Jordan Castaldo does not pick up an RBI, but it extends the Maple Leafs lead to 5-2.
I think Castaldo thought he had a pitch that he could hit there as well, but just got a little bit out in front of it. Mara hit a huge 2-run home run in his last at-bat. Takes up and away.
There's still a big run out at third base with Jose Vinicio. Excuse me, that's Greg Carrington.
Don't want to pitch around Justin Mara now because another guy who's hit a home run in this game is standing on deck. Pitch is low, 2-0.
And Justin Mara getting the green light here, 2-0. And that, the Leafs dugout screaming is a balk. Obviously, we can't tell up here, but he did get out of his delivery on that one.
This one's high, 3-0.
I'd give Justin Mara the green light here, 3-0, if he gets something he likes.
Absolutely. Right down the middle for a strike, 3-1. He did not have the green light.
No. And they get it with connect up, and Arias has not really been able to throw any pitches. You want to get that pitch count up so you get to that London bullpen, which doesn't have Fernando Fernandez.
Outside, ball 4. Jose Arias has walked 3 batters, and he has had a quizzical look on his face on all 3 of them in the inning.
And Jose Arias, let's call a spade. He's struggled in pitching here at Christie Pitts. You go back to his game logs. He's been brilliant all season. Yet in the game against Toronto earlier in the season, his one outing at Christie Pitts, he walked 6 batters. And yeah, he only allowed 2 runs, but he was flirting with danger all day. And now here today, 3 hits, 3 walks, and only 4 2/3. 5 runs. Jose Arias at Christie Pitts is something different.
Now he pushes it to a righty-righty matchup this time. It's Marcus Connect. Connect lines the ball. That one gets down. into the outfield. 1 run comes in to score. The 3rd RBI of the ball game for Marcus Connect at 6-2.
And he was sitting first pitch fastball just like Jordy Casaldo was. No chance for Candela at shortstop or Taylor Wright at third base and at least extend their lead. And, John Salazzo is looking for his first big hit of this game tonight, right now. And nobody's up in that London bullpen. They don't have a lot of options down that bullpen.
Breaking ball outside. Jose Arias control wavering in this bottom of the 5th inning, although he has been around the plate just off the corner. This one's lined, and that one gets through the infield. Rounding third base and scoring is Justin Mara. 7-2 Maple Leafs. RBI single. There's that big hit from John Salazzo.
Jose Arias, let's be honest, he doesn't like pitching like Chrissy Pitch. He's made that clear to different people. It's going to bring up pitching coach Brent Wells right now because Jose Arias that pitches in London and Jose Arias that the Maple Leafs have once again seen here at Chrissy Pitch is not that same dude.
7 runs in 4 2/3 given up by Arias. Connor Lewis is the batter on deck. Lewis is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts today against Arias. But the Maple Leafs have the momentum right now. All of this coming with 2 outs, other than the double play ground ball that scored a run for the Maple Leafs. Some clutch 2-out hitting by Marcus Connect and John Salazzo. Connect on second base, Salazzo at first. The pitch to Lewis. Breaking ball swing and a miss, and that was nasty. No question Connor Lewis was sitting on a first pitch fastball. And Jose Arias mixed it up.
That was pitch number 93 for Arias as London begins to get Braden Furrington up in their bullpen. Oh, you know what? That's Bo Lewington, who the Leafs have not seen this playoff series. He pitched once against the Leafs earlier in the regular season, and it was not a kind outing for Lewington. But London perhaps went to save their guys for potential Game 7, although this game's all over.
0-2. Hit in the air, center field, pretty deep. It's at the wall, and it is caught feet in front of the wall by Austin Wilkie as Connor Lewis gave it a ride to center. This game remains 7-2 Toronto Maple Leafs over the London Majors. We head to the top of the 6th inning. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. Big bottom of the 5th inning for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Thomas West, Ryan Eakin here. Game 6 of the Inter-County Baseball League Finals. Toronto Maple Leafs, London Majors. A rematch of last year. Here's the ball hit out to center field. Connor Lewis comes in, now drifts back and makes the catch, 1 away.
And if you're Castro, you need a shutdown inning in this spot, right? I mean, it's one of those things for the Leafs that you have a big inning in the bottom half of the 5th inning. You can't let London begin to chip into that lead. As Castro right now is cruising on the mound for the Maple Leafs. And it brings up Cleveland Brownlee, who is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts, but with 1 swing, he can get London back in this game.
Taylor Wright also 0 for 3. Castro's given up 5 hits as Brownlee was taking all the way, and it's strike 1.
Taylor Wright's mom came up to us pregame saying great job on the broadcast this season.
That was very, very kind. Especially with all the animosity that we see between teams, especially when it comes into the playoffs.
Yeah. I think people enjoyed what we have provided them this season. I like to think.
Don't go in the chat and answer that. I don't want to know.
Yes, I mean, some people in the chat, last couple games, not maybe the biggest fan, but listen, you can't please everyone, Thomas. You can't please everyone.
I don't read the chat while I'm calling the game, but I will go back later. So if you say something mean about me, I'm going to see it. So just know that. Pitch is outside.
That might make someone write something nasty now.
I know. I should have just said nothing.
Thomas West is the first broadcaster in the IBL.
Why you got to say my name?
Well, listen. I think people know who you are. You're a well-established figure in the IBL scene. Everyone knows who Thomas West is. The voice, the presence.
2-2 to Brownlee. Way up and away by Castro. Might have lost the grip on that one. The only difference is that last year the Toronto Maple Leafs were the number 2 seed in the Inter-County Baseball League. This year, very decidedly, the number 4 seed. But they have turned it on in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the Leafs are one of those teams that understand the regular season does not indicate how a team plays in the playoffs, and that most certainly has been the case again this season. They, didn't sweep, but they beat the 2 seed Jackfish with ease.
Strike 3 called. Castro gets Brownlee looking for the 3rd time today. 2 away.
Yeah, that one from up here is almost always impossible to tell, but looked fine. But Cleveland Brownlee not happy with that. He's one of the guys that's always animated. If he doesn't like a call, he's going to let an umpire know it.
That is 9 strikeouts for Angel Castro. Robert Mullins, the batter, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Big swing and a miss. Breaking ball from Castro.
'58 strikes, 26 balls for the Maple Leafs ace.
Outside corner, Angel Castro continuing to pound the strike zone 1 and 2, trying to get out of the top of the 6th inning and deliver a shutdown inning for the Maple Leafs, but Robert Mullins stands in his way. Here's the 1-2 pitch to the Majors catcher. Fouled off to the backstop. Robert Mullins hit over 400 in the regular season. Still looking for his first home run of the playoffs. Just low and outside.
Mar did a nice job framing that one, but a pretty obvious ball too on that pitch.
Two. Long wait from Castro. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 10 strikeouts for Angel Castro. 2 off his season high. The Maple Leafs continue to lead 7-2 over the London Majors as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. This is Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. What a big shutdown inning for Angel Castro in the top of the 6th, and turns it over to the bats for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Dan Mara will lead things off with a 7-2 lead for his longtime Toronto Maple Leafs. He's been the shortstop for many years in Toronto, the second baseman this year. Grant Tamane on deck, and then Greg Carrington. This is 7, 8, and 9 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Here's the 0-1. Way outside, 1-1.
I mentioned that earlier in the game, at least they need to get these guys in the bottom half of the lineup going, and they began a big inning for the Maple Leafs in the bottom of the 5th inning.
Here comes pitch number 98 for Jose Arias. And that's fouled off. 98 was the pitch count that Angel Castro needed in that 2-1 victory for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I would be back in game 4. Breaking ball, Mara pops it up. This is a little flare out behind first base. And it'll end up being a second baseman, Jacob Newton, who makes the catch.
And that's the right play by London. Newton's going towards the ball, sees it the entire time, make the catch, 1 out for the Maple Leafs here in the bottom half of the 6th inning.
Grant Tamani walked and scored in his last at bat and takes a breaking ball for a strike. Tamani had a leadoff walk. That was in the bottom of the fifth. Part of that big 3-run fifth inning for the Maple Leafs. Another backdoor breaking ball. Both of those looked like they were going to hit Grant Tamani. Ended up right over the inside of the strike zone. And now he's going to have to battle 0-2 against Arias. Pitch is in the dirt. Arias tried to go back to the breaking ball.
Fastball early in the game, or last inning, I should say, was getting crushed by the Maple Leafs. This inning, a lot of breaking pitches, and right now he's having a lot better of an inning than he had one inning ago.
And up over 100 pitches.
And nobody up in that Majors bullpen. And once again, this is his last game with London this season.
Way outside, 2-2.
Mullen acted as though he was surprised by the fact that was called a ball, but even from up here, that was high and outside.
Breaking ball just missed. Robert Mullen wanted that one again.
I've seen it in every pitch now, which kind of goes against the effect that it really has in terms of trying to influence the strike call. You do it every single pitch.
3-2. Can Grant Tamani get on again? Pitch is low and outside. Grant Tamani from 0-2 and then draws a walk. Just like last inning, Grant Tamani finds himself on base, but this time with one away.
That is a major league at bat by Grant Tamani. And Jose Arias has now walked 4 batters in this game, and it's just for him the 6th inning of pitching. So 5 hits, 4 walks, 7 runs in his worst outing yet in the IBL.
Yeah, to take that 2-2 breaking ball was...
Yeah, that was the big one.
You got to have some pretty strong wrists to not swing at that.
Leamington, it looks to be Bo Leamington anyway, up in that Majors bullpen.
But I see why you think it's Farrington, though, because of the glove color.
Both right-handed pitchers.
The Bushmen telling me that was one of their first crafted chirps.
Yeah.
Was the mustard glove.
Yes, yeah, on Leafs Weekly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Farrington's been around this league for quite some time now. And it's really gone from being a guy that was just a guy in this league to the closer.
Pitch just swung on and missed. Yeah. Garrett Hill came on Leafs Weekly, and he compared the chirps that the Bushmen create down the left field line to sitting in a writer's room, coming up with content. Which is way outside, 1-2 now.
They're creative. This Arias is obviously over 100 pitches.
The number of Bushmen and women down the left field line is immense tonight. There's
best crowd of the season for the last home game of the season.
Ball in the dirt.
And this crowd, Thomas, at moments throughout the season has been great. I remember that one game at the Panthers when their catcher had the yips and the crowd really getting on him. That was maybe the most exciting Wednesday night game of the season. And the night games have been a lot of fun. And this crowd is packed here on the Christie Hillside tonight.
2-2. Fouled off. It was 0-2 in this count, and like Grant Tamani, Greg Carrington trying to battle his way on base, whether that be a hit or a walk.
Again, there's plus speed at first base.
Jose Vinicio on deck. He fouls it off once again.
Whoa.
Ooh, and it hit someone's bike. That saved someone's car. Two consecutive foul balls for Carrington, and he's really making Jose Arias work here, well over 100 pitches. Here comes another 2-2. Swing and a miss. Nasty breaking ball. Strike 3. 2 away.
And that was a great breaking pitch by Arias, who still looks as though he has his breaking stuff, his secondary stuff, but he's laboring right now given the amount of pitches he's throwing. He wasn't at 100% health in his last outing on Friday. He was one of the many London guys that has been sick. As Bo Lewington continues to be up in that Majors bullpen.
So now 113 pitches for Arias. Pitch is way outside Robert Mullen. Runs out of his catching stance to snare that one. Bottom of the 6th inning, Maple Leafs leading 7-2 over the Majors. Leafs on the brink of elimination here at home. Pitch a ball. 2-0.
You have to wonder if Vinicio gets some because this game's not over. London is one big inning away from tying the game and taking the lead. If they do go to Bloomington to avoid having to face Castaldo and Justin Morrow once again.
This one skied in the air to medium depth right field. Catch made by Starling Joseph, and Jose Arias is through 6 innings on 115 pitches. Not that matters right now. Arias in his final game of the season trying to empty the tank against the Toronto Maple Leafs, who lead 7-2 over London Majors on the brink of elimination on a chilly Thursday night at Dominico Field. This is Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. Byron Reichstein is going to lead things off for London Majors in the top half of the 7th inning. Majors need 5 runs to tie this thing up and win the Dominico Cup. 2nd time in a row. Reichstein fouls it off, has 2 hits today, both singles to the opposite field.
Castro about to throw pitch number 90 on 3 days rest.
Blowing in the dirt.
This is a big inning for him too, because if he can get out of this inning without allowing any runs, he's through 7, and the Leafs can always use Franklin Hernandez for a 6-out save. But you have to get through this inning.
Yeah, and Franklin Hernandez was not Franklin Hernandez's self last game, giving up 4 runs to London Majors, and it probably will not change the coaching staff's decision to go to Franklin Hernandez because of the reputation that he's built up. But as a fan or as a broadcaster, it certainly puts a little bit of doubt in your mind.
Interesting storyline. He's been automatic all season up until Game 5.
Pitch, outside corner.
Wow.
Strike 3. Throw down to first base to complete a strike 3 called. Drop 3rd strike.
And I thought that was quite outside, but Reichstein was not able to argue because he had to go down the line to potentially beat out the throw. You don't see that often, Thomas.
Yeah, that was surprising. Heads up play, though, by Justin Marr to get up and throw that ball down to first base quickly. Sometimes you can get lulled into an inning, and there's a pitch up and in. It was a breaking ball from Angel Castro, but it was on Starling Joseph. Two of the more fiery players on each of their respective sides. Swing and a miss. 1-1.
Joseph was tossed from the last game at Christie Pitts. He was hit by the pitch, but he didn't check his swing, so it was called strike 3. He wasn't happy with that. He was laying on all fours until he got up and realized it was strike 3, and then he eventually got tossed after lots of arguing with the home plate umpire.
Now he checks the swing, but this time it's called a ball.
That may have been the nastiest pitch Castro's thrown all game. Almost breaking the knees off of Joseph. Ankles, excuse me.
Honestly, knees made it sound more nasty.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah. I shouldn't have corrected myself. Rule number 1 as a broadcaster, never correct yourself.
That is not a rule.
It is. Trust me.
Swing and a miss, strike 2.
As a broadcaster with many years of experience.
No, rule number 1 as a broadcaster is try and say things that are always accurate.
Yeah, that's rule number 2.
2-2. Top 7. This feels like a very big out for Angel Castro.
It's taking his time.
Factoring towards the longevity of his outing. It's a line drive up the middle. Starling Joseph gets the better of Castro. There's a base hit with 1 away.
And that's a big base runner for London who looks to do something now with the bottom half of the guys in their lineup.
You don't want to turn this lineup over, though. You want to try and get out of this inning with minimal damage done if you're Angel Castro.
Franklin Hernandez now jogging down to that Leafs bullpen. But you know they want this 7th inning from Castro.
Franklin Hernandez will come in and finish this ball game. You'd have to imagine whenever he comes in.
Lots of guys just running back and forth in that Leafs bullpen right now, jogging around.
Joseph with an aggressive lead at first base. Castro will check on him.
You have to think Joseph's not taking off in this spot and running into an out down 7-2. Would be some pretty bad baseball being played by the London Majors. I don't expect that to happen in the slightest.
Austin Wilkie is the batter. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Byron Reichstag and Starling Joseph, the 2 London Majors with multiple hits against Angel Castro. Pitch is up and in. Dan Perrier is on deck. He's 1 for 2. And then Keith Candell. (1-0) swung on and missed. That's that nasty breaking ball from Castro. Been busting that out a little bit more now, 3rd time through the lineup.
Coming into Castro's time at the Maple Leafs, it was told that his sinking pitch was going to be his best pitch, but that's not been the case. It's been that breaking pitch, as you mentioned.
Swing and a miss, strike 2. Wilkie now behind in the count. .282 batting average in the playoffs for Austin Wilkie. Like to keep the line going right here. The 1-2 from Castro. Just outside, 2-2.
Castro wanted that call. The fans at Christie Pitts wanted that call, but that looked to be outside.
Another 2-strike pitch from Angel Castro against Wilkie. 1 away here in the top of the 7th. It's hit in the air. This one's to left field. Coming over is Carrington. He makes the catch. All right, Carrington had a ball knuckling on him out there in left field. Out the ball to his left, and now there's 2 away.
Off the bat, that didn't seem great. It almost looked as though it was going to be a ball in the gap. It was anything but. The second out for Angel Castro, this inning. As he's 1 out away from really putting the Leafs in a spot where they can really manage this bullpen the rest of the way with perhaps trying to ask Angel Castro for an 8th inning.
Dan Perrier has that batting average up to now .415 in the playoffs. He's closing in on Jacob Newton.
This is not a guy that played in the States. This is a guy that played for the Seneca Steen in the OC AA. And
slow chopper to third base, and John Salazzo will wait for that ball to roll foul.
He was really big into the drive line program and getting the exit velocity up there. And he was a guy that some IBL teams began looking at as early as last season. I know the Bay Cats at one point had interest in him, and he came to London this offseason, and he's been quite the addition. A guy that began the season as a bench player and now has instantly become a guy that's in this lineup every day in the finals.
Yep, and even better in the playoffs, playing first base for the London Majors. He doubled in his last at-bat.
He's got some height to play first base.
Yeah. Oh, and 1, he chopped the first pitch foul. Throw to first, and making a nice play there was Jordan Castaldo. You don't want to let Starling Joseph get into scoring position, but that's also not really the top priority right now for the Toronto Maple Leafs, up by 5. Outside corner, strike 2.
And a massive pitch coming up here for Castro, looking to get through 7 on 3 days rest, which is becoming perhaps one of the great pitching performances the Leafs have had in many, many seasons.
If Castro gets the strikeout here, it'll send these Maple Leafs fans into a frenzy. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. He does get the strikeout. Angel Castro is through 7 innings of 2-run ball and has now tied his season high and IBL career high with 12 strikeouts in a ball game, and you know he will be looking for more in the 8th. 7-2 Toronto Maple Leafs leading the London Majors. This is Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. So that is it for Jose Arias. Jordan Castaldo leading off and facing new pitcher Bo Lewington for the London Majors. Lewington has had a couple of not great outings in the playoffs so far for the London Majors. And this is a guy that London has been bringing in not very high leverage situations this season. Has been a pitcher who's eaten up some innings on usually the side of a London Majors blowout win. Here's a ball hit on the ground to first base, juggled by Perrier. He snow cones it in the end of his glove and then finally makes the play, and there's one away.
Yeah, this feels like an inning with 2, 3, 4 for the Maple Leafs that you want to get a couple of runs, extend this lead against a guy who they've had success against in the past. When you go back to early July, he allowed 3 hits and only got 1 out in an outing against the Maple Leafs earlier in the season in London as he makes his Christie Pitts debut here tonight.
Yeah, Lewington's only pitched 3 1/3 in the playoffs. Struck out 7, but also gave up 7 hits.
And that one outing he had 6 strikeouts, was against Brantford.
Yeah, and that was part of a 23-4 win, and he gave up 4 runs over 2 1/3. So read into that as much as you like.
If he's a guy that can get the London out of this inning, it's going to be a massive, perhaps, turning point in this game as London looks to come back in this game and not have to play Game 7 back in London tomorrow night.
Yeah, only played the Leafs once in the regular season, gave up 3 runs in a third of an inning, and none of them were earned. Walked 2 as well. (1-0) to Mara.
2-0.
2-0. Fouled straight back. Justin Mara had a big cut at that one. And this is a tall task for Bo Lewington as well, coming in facing Justin Mara, Marcus Connect, and then John Salazzo, 2 of which have had 2-run home runs in this ball game, and then John Salazzo is John Salazzo.
Yeah, listen, if he doesn't face Salazzo this inning, that means he's still on a 3-up, 3 down, and that would be quite the inning for Lewington.
Swing and a miss, strike 2. Now, John Salazzo, and I haven't been on the broadcast in a while, so I might be behind on this, but Salazzo had one of the greatest videos on Twitter I think I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So he's been nicknamed the conductor, and that's because he's a conductor.
Ooh.
Pitch called, strike 3. Look down and in.
Yeah.
1 away.
2 away.
2 away. But yeah, John Salazzo went to his night job after eliminating the Welland Jackfish, and that's just the IBL in a nutshell, isn't it? You have a massive series win against a strong opponent. The Maple Leafs move on, and while everyone's partying afterwards and celebrating the win, John Salazzo is on his way to conduct a train.
Conductor, man.
Yeah, and he went on Twitter and he addressed the fans and thanked the fans for coming out, and then gave the choo-choo with the train horn on his job. I hope he didn't get in trouble for that.
No, he can't. He's John Salazzo. He's the conductor.
He's the conductor, yeah. He is the captain.
And he was really up at that time anyways, too.
I'm trying to think of how the filming of that video went, because I don't think you can just blow the horn randomly.
I don't know.
But they do blow the horn whenever they come to a road crossing.
Yes.
So I wonder if John just waited until
he
knew it was going to be a time to do it.
Yeah.
Had one take at the video.
We can ask him.
I'm probably thinking about it too much.
No. Can you have me thinking about it now?
1-2 on Marcus Connect. He has 3 RBIs, 3 of the 7 that the Toronto Maple Leafs have driven in this ball game. 1 via 2-run home run, and then an RBI single as well. Now he fouls it back. Oh,
I missed it.
it hit a fan, but he was all right.
Yeah, he's fine. Top of the hillside.
(2-2). Lewington trying to get through a clean inning. Way outside, 3-2. Full count, 2 outs. Connect the batter. Lewington trying to hold the Maple Leafs right here. Here's the pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did, says the first base umpire. Down on strikes is Marcus Connect, and the Toronto Maple Leafs continue to lead the London Majors 7-2. Toronto Maple Leafs baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. Welcome back to Dominico Field. 7-2 Maple Leafs over London Majors. You want to tell them about the skunk, or you want me?
Well, first we can say that Chris McQueen's now batting for Keith Kendall.
Okay.
And then, yes.
Oh, you want to talk about baseball, huh?
Listen, to close out our last game at Christie Pitts,
Yeah, we got a skunk.
we have skunks.
Not
on the field.
Not on the field yet,
Yeah.
but has been just such a serious issue.
You missed it. Game 2, the skunks sprayed a bunch of the guys at the skateboard park. They got all feisty with them, and the skunks won.
What's the lesson there?
Well, you know what I think skunks don't embrace,
Not a,
outrun them.
yeah, not a big fan, eh? So here's Chris McQueen. He's 4 for 10 in the playoffs, couple of RBIs. McQueen now shoots one into the outfield, and that one is caught by Greg Carrington. One away.
And that is now a downgrade at shortstop for London. Keith Kendall is an elite defensive shortstop in this league. McQueen better off at second base. The Majors bullpen, you have to wonder if he maybe pulled something, perhaps. He takes his helmet off.
Swing and a miss, strike one. So what are the options at shortstop then?
With McQueen, so Taylor Wright. Taylor Wright played a bit of short for the Ottawa Titans in the Frontier League this season.
Okay.
So that would be the answer. And then
Ball hit to center field. Back goes Connor Lewis to the wall. He makes the catch. 2 away.
And then Gibson Kraminski goes right into third base. So that's going to be the move for London if he indeed can't play any longer.
And Castro gives a shutout to his center fielder, Connor Lewis.
Oh, I have to say, given that he's 7.2 innings, he's allowed 2 runs, only 5 hits, no walks, 12 strikeouts. I'm going to call this game right now from Castro perhaps the greatest finals performance I've seen outside Claudio Custodio against the Panthers in 2017. This right now has been a brilliant outing for Angel Castro on the biggest stage in the IBL.
Yeah.
As I say that.
As you say that, here's a ball that's hammered out there to right field, and goodbye. That ball is gone. Newton with a blast. It's 7-3. That is the commentator's curse if I've ever seen one.
There is nothing worse. There's nothing better than saying something and it happening, and there's nothing worse than pumping someone's tires and they, in that case, allow a home run.
So here comes Cleveland Brownlee. The London Majors will use that as maybe a little bit of momentum. It is a solo shot, which is a positive thing for the Toronto Maple Leafs as they still maintain a 4-run lead, but boy, is it ever within striking distance now. Brownlee swings and misses. He's 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts against Angel Castro.
And correction, that was Taylor Wright with the home run, not Jacob Newton, our mistake. I was just so caught up in the fact that...
I was reading that as well. Yeah, sorry.
I was just caught up in the fact that I pretty much messed up the whole game for Angel Castro when you really think about it. Not quite.
Brownlee has not had a good day against Angel Castro. It's 0-2. Castro happy about that swing and a miss.
And you need to get this batter. You can't allow Brownlee to get it on for Mullen. He's pitching fast here.
0-2. Brownlee fouls it off.
Because if he gets on and then Mullen, let's say, hits a home run, which is not a crazy thought. He was a runner-up for MVP throughout the regular season. Just like that, we have a 2-run ball game here at Christie Pitts. The Maple Leafs bullpen is empty. A big at-bat here for Castro. A big strike coming up here for Castro. He needs it.
Outside. Angel Castro has 12 strikeouts. One more would be his own personal record. One, 2 to Brownlee. Long wait by Angel Castro. Now he delivers. It's up and in, 2-2.
Cleveland Brownlee, he's struck out 3 times in this game, but again, a massive at-bat here. If he gets on here, you have to think the Maple Leafs will get somebody up in that bullpen. But you know Castro doesn't want that. He wants to get out of this inning. He wants to get Cleveland Brownlee to get out of this inning.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Make that 13 for Angel Castro. The 4th strikeout for Cleveland Brownlee. And Castro is through 8 innings, 13 strikeouts, 3 runs, just the 2 home runs he's given up in this ball game, and he's given the Maple Leafs a chance to send it back to London. 7-3, our score here at Christie Pitts. Thomas West and Ryan Eakin here. It's Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube, presented by TD Canada Trust. John Salazzo will lead things off. The Maple Leafs looking for some insurance. Up 4 against the London Majors. 7-3. Bo Lewington back on the mound. He's coming out for his second inning of work. Connor Lewis waits on deck. Lewington's pitch. This is a high chopper to second base. Going to have to be a quick play. Oh, and colliding is John Salazzo and Dan Perrier, and he's called out at first base.
And Perrier is given to Salazzo, but I mean, he's not going to do anything about that. I'm not sure what you're even arguing.
John Salazzo having some words for Dan Perrier, who was reaching behind Salazzo to try and make that play.
I just don't know what Perrier is trying to do. I mean, he's mad at Salazzo over something. I'm just not sure what you can possibly be mad at. I mean, this has been a guy who's been off the bag multiple times in this series. And he's gotten the calls a lot in his way this series. So,
fortunately, both players okay after that collision.
Well, that's why I'm assuming Perrier is upset about is that Salazzo, I guess, perhaps collided with him. But it's going towards the bag at first base. It's tough to ask Salazzo to give up on the play.
Both guys for their respective teams did not want to see injured. Connor Lewis hit one to the warning track in center field in his last at-bat. Over the outside corner for strike 1. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts in the ball game. Lewis hitting 267, 5 RBIs. Just missing that home run in his last at-bat. Now he's behind 1-2.
Lewington's come in and has done exactly what Len has asked him to do.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Lewis goes down swinging.
And he's pitching this game. Maybe bring him to the conversation for perhaps an inning or 2 tomorrow or game 7 if he needs to. Because once again, we don't know if Fernandez is going to be an option. You have to think he's not going to. After throwing 80-plus pitches, that would be asking for a lot. It's 2 days rest and 3 days rest is a big difference.
And if Angel Castro is able to close this game out, it presents some options for the Toronto Maple Leafs next game in terms of how they use their pitchers.
They will have everyone at their option. And
hard ground ball. This one's to second base. Hard throw first in time. Good play by Jacob Newton. And the Toronto Maple Leafs will not get any insurance. They're retired in the bottom of the 8th, but have a chance to send it to Game 7 in London when we come back. 7-3 Toronto Maple Leafs over the London Majors. Maple Leafs Baseball on YouTube is presented by TD Canada Trust. Robert Mullen leads things off. And the question is, can the Toronto Maple Leafs send it to a deciding do-or-die game at the London Majors for the second year in a row? And that question will be answered by Angel Castro, who's on the mound in the ninth.
He came out to a loud ovation as he's really beginning to pitch fast now for the Maple Leafs.
Low and in, 1-1. Castro will empty everything he has left, and maybe not just the seasonal tank, but the career tank here in this top of the ninth. Low